Good morning. This is Faith in Our Hometown, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin. And now, here's your host, Father Jay Friedel.
Welcome, everyone, and welcome to another Sunday morning for Faith in Our Hometown. Again, we're very happy to have you with us, and I'm always just humbled that you spend part of your Sunday morning with us for so many of you. And again, I love meeting you out in the community, and the other day, again, I met somebody and they said, "You're that priest that's on TV." I met somebody in the post office, and I said, "Yes, I happen to be." And so we had a nice little conversation there at the post office downtown. But today we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on around Joplin, especially around these holiday areas. Somebody, thinks that the Grinch has come to town and we're not going to have a good Thanksgiving, or we're not going to have a good Christmas. We're not going to have any of those things. But we're going to be talking to Patrick Tuttle, who's of the Joplin Convention and Visitors Bureau. And we're going to be right back to talk about still having fun during these holidays right after this Mercy Minute.
So dreading it so much because it was really no big deal. There was no pain afterwards. I was really, really hungry, so I got to have whatever I wanted to have for lunch. But the rest of the day I just slept, and there was no pain, and went to work the next day. Every day that I opened up my refrigerator and saw that referral on my refrigerator, I just dreaded having to go through it. And now I just kind of laugh about it because it was no big deal. And knowing it's behind me, I just don't have to worry about it. Well, my husband and I, we do a lot of riding, and we kind of cram everything into the weekends. But eventually, we'd like to, once we retire, we want to be able to go on vacations on our bikes and go riding on weekends a lot more. So we have a lot to look forward to.
Well, again, thanks for joining us this morning for Faith in Our Hometown. My guest, Patrick Tuttle of the Joplin Convention and Visitors Bureau. Patrick, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
As I said in the intro, a lot of people think that we're not going to have any fun this holiday season because of COVID and the plague and all those kinds of good things. But you're here this morning to let everybody know that Thanksgiving's still on and Christmas is still on, and we're just going to have to figure out some different ways of doing some of this.
We've got to get rid of 2020 somehow.
That's true.
And I don't have the answers for that, but I think the message is to be in your bubble, stay with your families, do what we've been doing all year. We've learned this. We learned how to have this habit. And yes, we have to take precautions. We have to protect the elderly, that our families, and think about that. And we're doing the same thing as well, with how we're adjusting for the year. But it's very important to do so. But there are things happening throughout the year. And we, as the city, which is the Convention and Visitors Bureau, as well as the Parks Department, putting things on, we both together kind of this time of year are collectively gathering things that churches are doing, organizations are doing, and we try to get them on our website as much as possible. So if you're curious what's going on, visit joplinmo.com is our event page, and it has a lot of activities on there. And you're always welcome to call either us at the Visitors Bureau or the Parks Department to see what's happening for more details. So
joplinmo.com.
Visit joplinmo.com.
Visit joplinmo.com.
And there's also information on the city website as well, joplinmo.org. So a lot of acronyms, or just call us and we'll help you through it. But
all else fails, look up Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Patrick will take your call personally. Without doubt. But there's things happening in the area, and we're trying to work with Downtown Joplin Alliance. We're having the parade will actually be downtown on December 1st. That's a positive. We'll talk about that, a little bit of a twist. I'd like to start off by some of the activities that our Parks Department is doing in Mercy Park. And Mercy Park, of course, is a place that's special to all the Catholics in town because that was the site of Mercy before it got moved out by the highway.
Certainly.
Certainly the site that that the whole world wound up looking at the night of the tornado.
That's right.
Now it's a beautiful park. I love walking in there. I wish we hadn't had to go through all that, but
Exactly.
It's really kind of one of the interesting, beautiful byproducts that's kind of come out of this whole mess.
And it is, and it's amazing that that Mercy has been involved with the Joplin's history for years, and that's a very important part of it. That it's not the first hospital; it wasn't the only hospital that we've had here, and it's evolved. And the Passy Park has evolved into something that walkers daily enjoy. People go there and sit and meditate. People do it for physical reasons, And with the sculpture garden in Mercy Park and the fountain and the nature, it has just become an amazing destination for the city. And we have visitors that come to town that obviously go to Cunningham Park because we reference that as our ground zero. But Mercy Park has become something that's just a beautiful addition to our community. And this holiday season, you know, Parks and Public Works do a great job of decorating Main Street and Spiva Park in downtown. And there'll be a tree lighting in Spiva Park on November 19th. But this year we're lighting up Mercy Park in a way that we've never done it. It's going to be a holiday tree trail.
Nice.
So we're seeking 20 businesses or organizations in town, PTO or anybody, to decorate a tree that's going to be tied to one of the light posts there. So it's going to be sturdy put in place and be decorated. And then on November 24th, we're going to have kind of a contest to see the public's vote on which one is the most decorative.
Nice.
And they're going to be there for quite a while. Just that the 24th of November is the mainstay about that. So there's room for 20 trees. If your organization is interested in being a part of that, they can go to the city website or reach out to the Parks Department. There is a small fee
running out
to get that going. Yes,
yeah.
It is an important time to do so. But it's kind of a neat connection to that park and to the walkers and everything else that's going to go on. We're not going to decorate the statues. We're not going to decorate the bronze statues, but
well, they're beautiful in and of themselves
yes,
already.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
And we hope this grows. This is the first year for doing it, so we can only have room for 20 for this year, but we like to make that happen. The public will be invited out the evening of the 24th for hot chocolate and vote on the trees and some other festivities that'll be out there as well. But the Parks Department is also focusing on having movies in the park. They're going to show Elf on December 5th in the park. And on December 12th, we're looking at doing a children's parade. So it's going to be a holiday theme. We want children to bring their scooters, their wagons, their bicycles, and decorate them for the holidays.
So
and come out and have
on a different
parade.
scale.
Yep, have a parade come through the park, and people can cheer these kids around. It's just an activity. You know, we've done this before for July 4th, where kids decorate their trikes or bikes or wagons, and it's a warm feeling. And I think we need it this year for this holiday season. So that's an important part to do so. So November 24th will be the tree trail program, movie in the park, watch Elf in the park on December 5th, and then December 12th is going to be the actual parade for the kids to do so. Nice. And I think our Parks Department does
and all that's at Mercy Park.
That's all at Mercy Park.
Okay.
And like I said, more details, they can reach out through the Visitors Bureau, reach out to the Parks Department. And the two things, the parade and the movie, there's no charge for that. There is a entry fee for the organizations for the tree trail.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a festivity type atmosphere for the kids to come out there and be a part of that.
Well, it's nice. I mean, those are actually all new events, which is kind of belies the fact that we're just going to give up on celebrating the holidays to some degree.
Certainly.
You know, we got some good things going. And of course, all that stuff, we're going to encourage everybody to be safe and, you know, take their precautions, wear their masks, stay, you know, distant from each other, keep sanitizing and doing all those things. But
those three things
we
are key.
we can do some things that still make all that possible and still be safe for everybody.
I think it's about 2 months ago, we had some discussion. We typically plan the holiday season in July, and we didn't know what was going on. So about 2 months ago, we took the attitude of what can we do? Mm-hmm. And I think everybody should look at that. It's not so much that we have to cancel or postpone or delay, but how can we do certain things? The Joplin Memorial Run, which is normally in May, will be taking place on December 12th as well. And that's been a big part of the discussion with that committee is how do we do this? How do we do it safely? And how do we make it something that people can enjoy and not have any negative effects from it? Yeah. And I think that's all of our attitudes. We should look at the entire holiday season is how do we get the family together? It may be the last Zoom call for the year, fine, let's do that. But we got to make things happen.
Yeah, well, and again, give people a chance to celebrate and to do those things that are important. But again, taking care of the most vulnerable among us.
That's exactly right.
Exactly
right. Yeah, and we'll capture photos. We'll capture pieces that are important. We'll exchange gifts. We'll get to churches. We'll get to the community things. We just got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I'll just say from a church perspective. I mean, I keep wondering how is all that going to work because what I really in some ways kind of hope doesn't happen is that suddenly we get completely slammed on those days because the folks that might be coming that might up that are going to be the ones that haven't been there, so they won't know the procedures and they won't know what we're doing. And I just hope people can stay patient and calm with each other, because if we do have this great influx of people who haven't been there for anything else, they're just going to be patient as we give the instructions and remind everybody they should be wearing their masks, and that everybody's got to stay spaced. And when we run out of space, we run out of space.
Well, and that's going to constantly be a thing that the city monitors. I know our health department does a fantastic job of monitoring the hospitals. They work very closely with both hospitals to make sure we have a capacity there that's safe and all. And that's been the fear if you get into the winter months. Where are we at? So everything is subject to change, and I think we've just got to be able to work with that and not be Scrooges or Grinches. We need to face this as a very positive thing. This has been a great activities in this community all year long. People have made great strides in doing what they need to do. I know we've had within the city, when we have debates with city council, it's been going back and forth, but you want that. You want that discussion to be had, so you know that you're doing things that are good for the people. It keeps it safe. But going into the holiday season, we just have to find ways to make things happen.
Yeah. So you've talked a little bit about some of the things that are new, some of the other things that people look forward to that are the old Joplin traditions, if you will. We got some of those happening as well.
We do, and we have a couple that are old traditions, but they're modifying. And one of our major partners with tourism is the George Washington Carver National Monument, and they are doing a month of holiday history. So you can reach out to them virtually through their website and through their Facebook page. And they have some interesting facts about not only that's tied to Joplin and Carver, but also nationally as far as the holiday seasons go. So those are good discussion points. I mean, one thing we've learned is finding ways to have conversations with our loved ones and friends. What a way to do something like that. It's a little bit of history of trivia history.
Cool. Well, my guest this morning is Patrick Tuttle, who is the director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau here in Joplin. And we're talking a little about how to do some of this in the holidays and to do some of those things safely. We're going to be right back after a quick break, so don't go away.
You're watching Faith in Our Hometown on KSN TV, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.
Well, again, thanks for being with us, and thank you, Patrick, and thanks to the Convention and Visitors Bureau for dreaming some of these things up so that we still got some things to look forward to during the holidays. So we talked about some of the new events, especially all the ones happening at Mercy Park, which I think are great. We talked a little bit about the George Washington Carver thing, which I think is fascinating. What about the tried and true Joplin traditions? Like, what about the Christmas parade?
You would have to ask about that, wouldn't you?
I would probably, because it blocks me off to be in downtown, in that downtown area. I always have to contend with it on the days that it happens.
What's your memory of a Christmas parade?
I mean, as a kid?
Yes.
Actually, when I grew up, we didn't have Christmas parades. We had all kinds of other Christmassy things, but most of mine were centering around church rather than around the community. Okay. And when I grew up in Florissant, the Valley Flowers Parade was the big parade. We didn't have a Christmas parade. So actually, Christmas parades were kind of new when I came to Joplin. And my first one I'll tell you about when I was here, when I moved back here. When I moved here, and I remember that first year, because all of a sudden people weren't coming in for church, like they normally would, in that evening or things like that. And they're just like, they were, trouble. And people would say, "Oh, Father, sorry, we couldn't get through because of the parade." And what parade? What are we doing? What parade? So that my first year here, I learned very quickly that the parade was kind of a big deal, and you did have to reroute around it if you're going to be in that downtown area.
Let's work with that. So when we were talking about, and Freeman Hospital has been our sponsor for the city for 7 years. They do a phenomenal job on bringing the parade to us, and they are still the mainstay that puts it on. I think it's a work of love of their staff and employees that come out and make this thing happen. You can only imagine behind the scenes. It's about 60 people to make a normal parade happen. So it's a lot of manpower and a lot of planning. And like I said earlier, we start planning in July to get things done for December. So they said, yes, we need a parade. And they got talking about this. Good. And they went back to their boardroom and brainstormed what to do, and found a couple other cities were doing a kind of reverse type parade. So the parade's going to happen on December 1st. It's always the first Tuesday of December. It's going to happen on December 1st. But the spectators are going to drive through the floats. So from
Wow. There you
15th to
go.
3rd Street, the floats, the bands, the different associations and agencies are going to line up along the road, and coming in at 20th and Main, spectators can drive through the parade and enjoy the festivities.
And that way they're
So-
safe in their own vehicle.
Safe in their own
own
bubble,
family.
their own family, and they're able to do this. So keeping with the congestion theme, we hope it works. I mean, it's going to
Yeah.
be an interesting thing. We've always had to deal with the parade at the end of the trail is how to get the bands and the floats out.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be how do we get the guests, the spectators, into the parade and make it work.
Yeah.
So I think our public works folks have been working closely with Freeman and putting together a plan. I just ask people to be patient of getting into the parade route. Again, they're going to come in at 20th and Main, they're going to funnel in, and they'll go all the way to 3rd Street on Main Street to see the activities. I don't think you need to come really early to get in line because you're not going to miss it. You're going to see the entire
Yeah.
parade at your own pace. And I hope people go fairly slow to go through the process there.
Yeah.
But it'll be an interesting thing. And then Santa Claus will be down at the end. If you want to pull off and see him, it'd be from a distance to see him. But that's kind of one of the traditions that people have to have at the end of a parade. And Freeman's making the concessions to have that happen as well.
Well, that's great, and I am, I do think, again, this is creativity, and some creativity at its best. Kudos to y'all, and kudos to Freeman for figuring out ways to still do this.
Right.
I mean, because again, it's like we got to do it a little differently. We got to do it maybe a little smarter than we would have had to otherwise.
Right.
But this is where we're at. This is the conditions we're in, and we're still trying to take care of each other. And doing all those things together doesn't mean we can't do it and we can't have fun.
Right.
But we've got to do it with some considerations in mind.
And
to
not
make
only is
sure.
it keeping the spectators, the public safe, and with their own people in their own bubble, but you got to think about all the kids that are in the band and moving
Oh,
those
yeah.
things around, and you can't, buses now, you can't have the same crowd in a bus that you had before, so that means more buses to move the bands in, and all those different details. So it's been a very interesting logistical change, I guess we could say. But we got to do it. Again, like we said earlier, it's how do we get things done? How do we move forward and make things happen? And also, I think we need to reiterate even though we're doing things at Mercy Park, Spiva Park downtown will still have the tree
Good,
downtown
good,
and the
good,
activities
yeah.
and things there. And it's actually musically synced, so people can go by and enjoy that on their own time all through the holiday season. We'll also have windows downtown that'll be decorated. The one in City Hall will be up there starting on the 19th, and those run through New Year's Eve. So the festivities span the entire gamut of the season and try not to shortchange people. The holiday windows downtown through the Downtown Joplin Alliance will be judged and awarded on November 19th. So it kicks off the season, and we go all the way through the end of the New Year's Eve festivities.
I'm going to have to just throw this out there because I know that I'm going to get in trouble if I don't. But we have our Vietnamese community, our Catholic Vietnamese community over in Carthage. And that, frankly, is one, you've got to be able to see that light display from
You have
space.
to. It is an annual tradition.
You've got to be able to see that from space. And I love that. But I'm always amazed. My first year here, again, that first year you're doing things and you're like, my goodness, where did they come up with all this too?
Isn't that
So
amazing?
I love the fact that we've got so many traditions. One of the things I love about that one is that usually when I was pastor of St. Anne's in Carthage for those years that I was over there, in addition to being here downtown in Joplin, was we did the live nativity too. So we'd have our kids out and they'd dress up as Mary and Joseph, and we'd have the baby Jesus and and all that stuff. So it was always just a great night because you're just doing some of that at some of those times. So I just love the fact. I love the fact that we've got all these different ways that people are trying to keep all those things safe for everybody.
Certainly.
And to figure out ways of doing that.
I recommend walking through the lights. Have you done that before? The walk
Over
through
in
lights?
Carthage?
Yes.
I'm usually on the thing, and we're usually walking, so I walk for part of it, but I've never walked the whole
Yeah,
thing
there's
from
a
beginning
group.
to end.
There's a group that does a 5K run through there.
Oh,
And they
okay.
run to the square and come back, and it's really an amazing thing. But I'm part of the group that walks through it, not runs through it.
Okay.
But
Sorry.
it's just to walk it is really you get a different sense of the mechanics behind it, and you get to see the entire exhibit. It's a beautiful thing.
I
to
always
have.
laugh. I accuse them of wanting to send one of their brothers to college just to get an electrical engineering degree just so that they can run the whole thing. But it's pretty entertaining. They just laugh at me.
Small
but it's pretty
story is
funny.
one of the gentlemen who helped build a lot of those now works for the city parks department.
I love it.
Some of our displays are his creations. So
Yeah,
it's
which is great.
It's a nice transition there.
Nice.
And I'd say that there's other things happening that we haven't talked about, but I would encourage people to go to our website, visit joplinmo.com. There's an event page on there, or they can reach out to the Joplin Parks Department as well. And there are other community things that we have on our page that churches and organizations have always done. So if you want to look at those pages, you're welcome to do that. And if you have something going on, I mean, we'd like to know what those are. And that service, that event page is free to the public. So.
And I'm going to just take this moment to say to folks, if you're worried about how all that's going to work in your own particular church or a church that you normally visit, just get on the phone and call those places, okay? And just ask your questions. Are people going to be asked to wear masks? And they'll tell you, well, we're either required or we don't. That way you can make an informed choice about what you're going to do. Is everybody going to be spaced the right way, and to do those things? Because if depending on where we are and what's happening health-wise in the city, God forbid we don't have to go back to more restrictive measures, but if we did, then again, those things that have to be, if they're enacted and we're there, then we're going to have to follow whatever the advice of our health department and things like that is.
Certainly.
So I'd just say if anybody's worried about those things, please get on the phone as well and call the churches, the place that you're thinking about visiting, perhaps for Christmas or whatever, and ask some of those questions, because the folks that run those places will all talk to you. They'll answer your questions, and then that way everybody can feel secure and safe and know what they're about. We got a couple minutes, so what
you were joking earlier, but
too.
I think it's important that people are concerned about some of the public events. They're welcome to call us too.
Yes.
And we'd be happy to brainstorm, just like we did with Freeman on the parade. We have some good people in the city. We'd be happy to brainstorm, and we may not have the answer, but at least help you think through the process that's going on. So it's been an interesting time for us in 2020, and we are missing our international travelers. One of the big things we have is Route 66, and with the international market shut down, we've been keeping in touch with them both through letter exchange, emails exchange. We've even done some postage type stuff, mailing things back and forth. Yeah. But we've had a lot of old-fashioned way, snail mail. But we've had a lot of our U.S. residents come through, kind of doing staycations, which is really amazing that they want to travel, they want to see what's going on, and they've come in. And I tell you, Father, that probably 90% of them come in with mask on and hand sanitizer, and are very, very aware of what their safety measures are. So if they can do it, we can do it.
Well, and again, I've said from the very beginning, I know people were a little feisty about some of this stuff when we first get because for some people it felt like they were being told what to do and do this. Well, nobody likes to be told what to do. I don't care what your age, I don't care who you are. But when I just kept saying to everybody over and over and over again, this is about keeping each other safe. Mm-hmm. This is about caring about each other. This isn't about somebody being mean to you.
Right.
This is about how do we take care of each other in this larger community, at that point in time, community of faith. But when we talk about Joplin, this is this larger community. And it's like, how do we be good to one another? How do we take care of each other, especially those that may be the most vulnerable? And it sounds to me like you guys have come up with some phenomenal ways to do that. Which is wonderful.
We're trying.
Yeah.
And it's not all the city, it's not all the parks. We have community partners that we work with very closely, and we're very thankful of that. And we're also thankful for the latitude that the council gives us as well to do the things we can for our citizens and their guidance in the effort as well.
Well, one of the things I do know about the members of the council that I know is that they're always trying to give everybody the most leeway that they can. But when push comes to shove, they also know that they've got a responsibility to the community, mm-hmm. To help guide the community when the community needs the guidance. And so, it's not a bad balance to try to make at that point in time.
Certainly.
But again, our thanks to you guys and all the folks who work with you for making sure that our holidays were not stolen by the Grinch. Okay?
Our pleasure.
That's wonderful. We're going to be right back after this Mercy Minute.
Hi, I'm Karen Brown. Last year, my sister was diagnosed with ovarian stage 3C cancer in her early 40s. As a mother of 2 beautiful children, I didn't think twice about undergoing genetic testing here at Mercy. Even though I have grandparents and an uncle battle cancer, seeing a genetic counselor wasn't something that ever crossed my mind until my sister's results showed that she was BRCA2 positive.
We've come a long way, especially in about the last 5 years. Genetic testing can pinpoint the cancers that you are at highest risk for in order to detect them earlier or, if possible, prevent them.
My genetic counselor at Mercy, Robin, took note of my family health history and answered all of my questions. She even suggested my brother get tested. Robin said if he tested positive, he may be more likely to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and that is what I lost my uncle to.
There are many other types of cancer that are also possibly hereditary, such as colorectal cancers, pancreatic cancers.
I honestly was prepared to hear that I was positive, but indeed I was negative. And what a huge relief that was, not only to me, but to my family, to know I wasn't at a great risk of developing breast or ovarian cancer.
Diet, lifestyle choices such as smoking or drinking all contribute to our risk for cancer. Genetic testing is taking just kind of one piece of that. Talk to your primary care doctor or your OBGYN and ask for a referral to a genetic counselor.
Well, as this holiday season approaches, I hope that we've given you some good hope for still having some of the traditional holiday fun, even though there are some challenges to us this year. Why wouldn't we figure there'd be challenges in this part of 2020, moving into 2021? It's been one of those years, but we still can have lots of fun and be with each other. Our thanks to all the people at the city and the Convention Visitors Bureaus for making it happen. Stay safe, God bless you, have a great Sunday, and join us next week for Faith in Our Hometown.
Thanks for watching. Faith in Our Hometown can be seen Sunday mornings at 6:30 and 9 a.m. on KSN. Brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.